I'm Diane. Thanks for coming tonight. My show is called Collecting Changes, a Permanent Record. And whenever I approach a show, there's a couple of things I'm thinking about. First, I'm often thinking about the environment, the space, the room where the art is going to go for the show, or the wall where the art is going to go. Space, form, all of that is deeply important to me. And so as I was thinking about this show, I was thinking about how do I take that wall, call attention to it, how can the art on the wall interact well with each other, whether it's on that wall or in a room. I'm thinking about their communication with each other. The white space, the scale, all of that sort of shapes the direction that I'm going. With this collection here, I wanted there to be a place where you just stand and your eye lands, and then I hope that you can just sort of move around the different pieces, take it in, pause, have a moment to just explore the lines on the canvases and your own stories. The other thing that entered into this collection was as a child, I pressed flowers. I've done that my whole life. I've used flower presses. When Jeremy and I were dating in college, he hand painted me the cover of a wooden flower press. So I could press flowers in that. And then my kids all have flower presses. And then I also would press flowers in like gardening books. And each time I date it, I write little notes. So it becomes this diary, this archive, this journal, similar to how photographs or journals kind of remind you of a place in time. That's what pressing flowers has done for me. So that was another piece. And then I love interiors. I feed on beautiful interiors. That is what fills me up. And I saw some images I've seen many images. I mean, there's so many homes that will have vintage herbariums on the wall, maybe gathered from a flea market in Europe, and they have them all next to each other on a wall. And it is timeless, it's beautiful, and that sort of honed in on my direction with this collection here. So each one of these pieces is a moment in my life that marks changes, experiences, good things, painful things, long moments, small moments. And I wanted to capture that sort of in reference to the herbarium. But I wanted to take my take on the herbarium with doing my black lines and kind of modern take. But I wanted to stick to the uniform size and shape and uniform framing as well. Great, so that's that. And then I thought I would talk about a few of the paintings, and then if you'll have any questions about them as well. So I'm gonna, let's see. The first painting I did was called Withering Undergrowth. This one's in reference to my mom, who was valedictorian, 2 master's degrees, and died from Alzheimer's. And that's so painful to watch. And those moments, so that's one of the hard stories in this collection. The moments when the familiar becomes so deeply personal and beloved and you don't want to forget it. And I think we all have moments like that where we've experienced loss. And then after the loss has happened, the mundane things rise to the surface and we hold on to those. And then another one, the one next to it on the right, is called Cosmos, Courage from Off Kilter. Growing up, my parents were lovely. I love my parents. But they were so deeply involved and they wanted us to just do well, and they were very supportive and very involved. As a result, the learning how to fail was not something that I grew the muscles to be comfortable with. And as an adult, as I've grown older, I've been learning that being off kilter is part of the process of becoming courageous. And I know I'm continuously trying to grow in my courage and bravery, and I don't believe I'm alone in that. I think a lot of us are continuing to grow and become the stronger, better versions of ourselves. And then another one. This is another hard one, but it's good. Equinox, all is ground up. It's the one right below the one you're putting, that one. Mm-hmm. When we lived in Waco, Texas, we had 2 kids, and then we had a miscarriage. And let me backtrack. Growing up, I lived in Texas, and we had picture windows in the front of our house and the back of our house and trees everywhere. And I would just always sit and stare out the window. I just loved sitting there, looking at the trees, squirrels, birds, my mind just wandering. And then moved to college. I went to Baylor in Waco, Texas, and had a dorm room on the first floor. And our dorm had the cafeteria. And my window looked out on the front, so I could see all the people walking to and from our dorm to get their food. And I would just lay on my bed and watch people. And then we bought a house in Waco, and big picture windows, big oak trees. And when my 2 daughters would go to town for their rest time, I would sit on the couch and just stare out the window at those trees. And then we had a miscarriage, and after all of that, girls are still in rest time. I'm sitting on the couch, and I look out those windows, and I see the negative space of these trees. It's like my vision, the way I saw the familiar things, I began to notice them differently. And that happened another time when we left Texas, we moved to St. Louis. It was hard to leave our community behind. And I remember feeling unsure. And we were at a park for a picnic, and I was looking at the trees. I've always been looking at trees. I grew up in a forest, but the colors on the bark were more vivid than I'd ever seen before. And so these moments, the familiar things and the way I saw them began to change. And I really think that has influenced my whole art practice in general too, just wanting to hone in on the familiar and call attention to it. And so with that negative space and with the color, just these things hold weight in our grief and in our sorrow and in our hope too. And then I'll do one more because I don't know if I've gone 10 minutes. Okay. All right, the one, it's the top right. Is this my right? Yes. Propagate solo and concert. I want to just grow. I want to learn to trust myself, and I'm growing in that. And I think a lot of us all have things that we're working towards. When I was in college, I had there was a study abroad program in Maastricht, the Netherlands. I wanted to go. I asked my friends. None of them were able to go because of their class schedules or whatever. And so I went by myself with other people from my college, but I didn't know any of them. And I remember being at the airport. Jeremy and I were dating, and this is before 9/11, so your family could come and be at the gate with you. And Jeremy and my parents were there, and I just remember walking on the tunnel and feeling so alone. Like, I'm leaving these people. I'm going into this whole new thing, not knowing anyone. But I knew it was the right thing to do. But there's times when I have just discounted what I knew what was right, and I've just ignored it, shut it down, and just left it and moved on. And I've become better at noticing that. And one of my most recent experiences with that was last year. There was a show in New York City, Cy Twombly, and my friend was like, "Do you want to go?" And do you and Jeremy want to go with us? And the logistics were not working out. And I was like, "I don't think we can do this." And then they went, and then I just instantly thought, "No, I want to go." And I just assumed I couldn't. I just decided, without even giving any consideration, I went that lack mindset. There's not enough mindset, and I thought, this is not going to work. And I noticed that, and I thought, okay, what if I shifted my normal way of doing things? And so I booked my trip. I have 5 kids. 2 are in college, but still, like, just the logistics and everything. And I booked my trip. And same thing, Jeremy took me to the airport early on a Monday morning, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, I know I want to do this, but this still feels out of my comfort zone as well. And but me going out solo and doing those things, you going out solo and doing your dreams, helps you become who you are in your life, and it shapes the way you are around other people for the better as well. So that's sort of some of the stories behind that. But yeah.